In the heart of Umoka village, where the drums of evening always echoed through the hills, there lived a woman named Nina. She was beautiful, with skin that glowed like fresh palm oil and eyes as bright as the river in the sun. Men often whispered that her husband, Obina, was the luckiest man alive. But beauty is not everything, for Nina had a tongue sharper than a spear. From the day she came into Obina's house, her mouth never rested. If Obina made a mistake, she shouted it for the whole compound to hear. If a neighbor wronged her, she would rain insults louder than the town crier. Even her husband, who loved her dearly, could not escape her careless words. One market day, Obina returned home with a small bag of yam tubers. He had worked hard under the hot sun to buy them. But Nina looked at the yams and laughed bitterly. "Is this all you brought? Look at other men, bringing goats, baskets of fish, even clothes for their wives. But you, Obina, the great farmer, come home with only 6 miserable yams." The neighbors passing by stopped. They turned their heads, listening. Obina's face burned with shame, but he said nothing. Another time, during a village meeting, Nina mocked him openly. Obina had given his opinion about how to share farmland, but before anyone could respond, Nina clapped her hands and shouted, "Don't mind him. What does he know? A man who cannot even provide plenty for his own household is now giving advice to the elders." The people gasped. Murmurs spread like fire. Some laughed, others shook their heads. Obina sat there, humiliated, his chest heavy with pain. At home, their quarrels became louder. Obina would beg her to lower her voice, but Nina would hurl more words like stones. One night, Obina sat outside under the moon, his eyes red. His friend Chak came to him quietly. "Obina," he said, "your wife's tongue is cutting you little by little. Even the children are beginning to talk. You must do something before your respect is gone." Obina sighed deeply, holding his head in his hands. For the first time, anger began to rise in his heart. By the next morning, whispers filled the air. Women in the stream gossiped. Elders shook their heads. Children pointed when Obina passed. And in the midst of it all, Nina continued her careless talk, not knowing that her husband's patience was breaking like dry wood. In Umuaka, it was said that when the gods want to humble a person, they first let that person's pride blind them. For Nina, her mouth became her greatest downfall. One fateful evening, the village gathered for a festival. There was music, laughter, and palm wine flowing. Obina, dressed in his best wrapper, tried to enjoy himself. But Nina could not stay quiet. When Obina danced with the men, Nina shouted, "See him shaking his waist like a hungry goat. This is the man I married, always trying, but never enough." The laughter from the crowd was loud and cruel. Obina stopped dancing. He looked at his wife, and in that moment, something inside him broke. His dignity had been thrown into the dust. From that day, Obina grew silent. He stopped eating at home. He avoided her eyes. Then, one morning, when the cock crowed, he packed his small bag and walked out of the compound. "No, where are you going?" neighbors asked. He said only one thing: a man without respect has no home. Better to sleep in the forest than to live with shame. When Nina heard, she laughed at first, thinking he would return. But days turned to weeks, and Obina did not come back. The villagers' whispers became open mockery. "Is that not Nina, the woman whose mouth chased away her husband?" they said at the stream. Children sang mocking songs when she passed. At night, Nina sat alone, staring at the empty space where her husband once lay. She remembered his gentle laughter, his quiet strength, and his patient love. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She had destroyed her own home with her words. One evening, she went to the elders, crying, "Please, call Obinna back for me. I did not mean to scatter my home." But the elders shook their heads. "A word is like an egg," one elder said. "Once it falls and breaks, it cannot be gathered again." Nina wept until her eyes grew swollen. She realized too late that her beauty could not hold a man, her sharp tongue had cut deeper than a knife, and her careless words had turned her marriage into ashes. And from there on, mothers told their daughters a woman's beauty may draw a man, but her words can keep or destroy him. A sharp tongue is more dangerous than a sword. Speak with care, for words can build a home or break it into pieces.